Broken Thing, Chapter 15. Garrus was at his desk looking at a shifty male human who entered, sat, appeared, immediately slouched and miserable. Short for a human, though most all humans were short to him. Average build, watery eyes, average... Garrus wasn't the best with human appearance. He bitterly thought. Nondescript. That word had described Cara often before her abduction. Now she was the epitome of descript, and he hated it. She seemed to be unable to be brought to care either about her appearance, either way, though Garrus knew better. She cared about everything. Thane Krios, a surgeon, and her stubborn, had reached a consensus, and Garrus did not get a vote. The human in front of him was a person to pass on the pedway, someone who would make no impression, leave not a ripple on the psyche except maybe a shadow, a blank space. Not something wholesome like shade from a tree, but a void. According to the file, his name was Marcus Enger. He wanted to talk to the counselor and wouldn't talk to anybody else, since Garrus was helpless otherwise, and Cara was at the bottom of an ocean somewhere, talking to ancient godlike things and trying to reaper wrangle. Of course she was. And Garrus could not let anybody go that dropped Cara's name without talking to them. He and Marcus had a time slot. Marcus had worked at Beckenstein as part of security. He'd already been interviewed, his story consistent with the other stories that added up to a gravity well of despair. How can I help you, Mr. Enger? Thanks for seeing me. Thank you for coming forward before and now. Marcus shifted and tried to sit up, but the persistent slouch that had likely invested his posture for a lifetime melted his shoulders in a few moments. Look, I came in earlier and talked to some other people when this all happened, but I seen the news and, I answered questions, but I really didn't say nothing. But I had something like a change of heart. Change of something, anyway. I got background and info. Some stuff maybe you know, some stuff maybe you don't. I just gotta get it out, and not to someone who's gonna ignore me. I want to know that you know. Anyways, people don't get a job working at Beckenstein for Krios and then just up and leave. People stay there, because they realize anyone that tried to go is dead. People that screw up at their job, gone. Probably dead. Nobody can find them. After a while, maybe there's some people working there, know to keep their mouths shut. Maybe nobody looks too close. People get used to not saying nothing. People get used to doing their job, and part of the job's not talking about the job. So you got no pictures? Just testimony? Right. Yeah. There's no permanent records. Camera feeds, but no audio. So I'm one of those guys watching a monitor for years. I seen more than most. Someone else working there maybe you don't see so much. If a gardener looks in a window, they don't do it twice. Or there's a new gardener who don't look inside. My job was to watch the monitors I was told to watch and not look away. All feeds went directly to Krios. He had the only copies of surveillance. All sent to an outside server, and his Omnitool Direct. Nothing stored on grounds. So I'm betting you got nothing except uninformative people as witnesses? Mostly the same story? Same as hers? Yes, that's been my experience. Garrus didn't know how he felt about that. The same story was vile enough, but there were outliers. People like Marcus, who went counter to the overarching narrative. Hints that Krios was smarter than Shepard gave him credit. Suggestions that the chip had been less than effective. Garrus couldn't tell if it was statistical noise or statistical significance. Marcus nodded, and his lower jaw jutted out in response, then pulled back with something that might pass for determination if it weren't Marcus's face making that expression. Okay, so security's there to tell Krios stuff, what he decides he wants to know. Alert him if something goes wrong, let him know things are going right and on schedule. I seen a lot of things go wrong and right, and it wasn't according to rules of wrong and right out here. People get used to that. Take someone out of Bekenstein, and they're still there in a lot of ways. Ways that ain't gonna change. So here's the thing. Makasenga ain't my name, and I ain't telling you what it was. Part of getting a job on the estate was getting a new Bekenstein citizenship and identity. I got a job offer. Move to Bekenstein and work. Make stupid amounts of money. Easy. It's like, here's a dumb rich guy, sit on your ass and make a fortune. So people who end up there figure they'll move to Bekenstein, say goodbye to their family for a bit, come back in a few years, rich as shit. The money's real. The leaving ain't. Once you're on Bekenstein, you're at the estate working or living in a compound off the estate where you can buy anything you want, and now you got plenty of money. You can get drugs, women, men, your own slave, anything except freedom. You can't leave. Only Krios can say where you can go. Turns out you could leave if you could maybe buy independent and not contracted citizenship, but that means you gotta have enough money to buy an estate, and though you got more money than you ever seen. To get off Bekenstein without Krios' permission, you gotta have more money than you're ever gonna make. You belong to him. Maybe you realize who you're working for ain't so dumb. Or maybe some don't realize it, and they ain't so alive no more. That was a bit of a leap, but it seemed like Marcus enjoyed leaps. If there was anything this story did not need, it was added tension, death added to denigration. Marcus looked at Garrus's impassive face for reaction, but didn't get one. So your family wants money if you want to send it, and everyone does. Everyone's got a sick aunt or a kid they want to put through school, and you don't talk to your family because you're a prisoner. Krios approves some regular correspondence, but nothing live. Only recorded, in and out, and all you're really allowed to say is shit like, I'm glad you're happy with the money, it's great here, I'm gonna make a little more, love you. You can hear back that your family's got plenty of money now, just come home, but that ain't gonna happen. And you can't tell them that. You signed the contract, kinda like Ilium, and you're there and can't do shit about it. So I get why people ain't gonna talk, and why what I gotta say is not something I wanna say, not something he wants you to hear, not something the people who recruit for Bekenstein want me to say. Not something Commander Shepard would want me to say probably, and now nobody's gonna be happy with me. Not that they should be. So, anyways, Krios has got expensive security on Commander Shepard. Teams on surveillance, trackers, and perimeters, and eyes on her all the time. But she don't never make no move. Never tried nothing, and he what? Look, this is gonna sound crazy. Just stick with me for a bit before you decide to kill me. For a guy like Krios who... I can try to explain, but you probably won't believe me. Won't understand. He cared about her then. He cares about her now. Adding a few more surges of rage to the seismic fault line Garrus was composed of at the moment made no difference in his demeanor or voice. From long practice as a detective, as a squad mate of Shepards, and as a diplomat. He did want to talk to witnesses. He couldn't kill even this foul specimen. The next witness might not want to talk if there was a history of dying here, bloodstains on the ceiling. He asked calmly. Cared how? Look, a lot of weird, ugly shit went on there, and most guys only heard rumors or whispered stories. We wasn't at the estate when there was parties. I can't tell you nothing about 'em, but I bet you got enough stories about that anyways. Can't tell you none of those stories ain't true, neither, considering everything else went on in that place. Camera shut down, no job, night off. Estate tech suspended. Krios was the only one had tech access anyways. Access was set up in tiers under his control. Staff had only enough tech to do their jobs, all devices provided by and kept on the estate. Guests had access on OmniTool to only some functions. Read only. No recordings, no transmissions unless Krios himself authorizes them. So they could maybe watch Emily Wong or some shit, but nobody hung out to watch the game, if you understand. People come to do a job or conduct business, they don't stick around. They wasn't invited to no barbecue. Staff couldn't use personal OmniTools. They was locked on arrival for work. We could unlock after shift. Automated suppression stuff. Manual restart. So I worked the monitor. That's all I done for years. 4 years. Watch, play, pause, limited replay. I didn't program shit. I done what I was told. I seen people come and go, people who slacked off. I ain't never slacked off. I think it was the only guy been there that long. Most people last maybe an hour, maybe a day, maybe a month, maybe a year, and then something happened to him. Krios happened to him for whatever reason he had. She shows up and she was different. Here's this sweet, tiny lady made of smiles in a place where ain't nobody never smiled. Used to be before she got there, someone on staff drops a data pad, makes a noise, fumbles a carry on a dish, and they'd be gone next day, probably dead. She smiles at him. They ain't dead. Krios don't happen to him. She was always kind and brave, and I think he cared about what she thought. I think he beefed up security not 'cause people was looking for him. He had that shit covered before he brought her in, just like with the rest of us. He done it 'cause he knew she wanted to get out. Unlike the rest of us sad morons, ain't got no choice but to work there. He's afraid she can do it, and he ain't gonna be able to stop her. From what we could figure, all his security changes after she got there affected someone trying to get out, not trying to get in. She had a chip the whole time. Yeah, but was it on the whole time? This is what I'm saying. I don't think it was. If it was, why was he so scared? And why would he go to so much trouble? He didn't let her get near no tech, not even a disconnected frickin' data pad. She couldn't even go in the kitchen, not once. Kitchens eventually locked down with one-use codes keyed to staff biometrics, and we think it's 'cause she could get in there and do some damage. She'd smile at us, and then she'd look at him like... Like what? Like he'd better smile at us too. A lot of what he'd done after she got there, he'd done it 'cause she wanted him to. He even ended up making sure guests wasn't rude to staff. That never mattered shit to him. And he might have got off on it for all I know. He ain't sadistic, but he's a cold son of a bitch. And he likes things a certain way. And that way was cold. She wasn't cold. It mattered to her if someone mistreated staff. She ain't got no expression that's blank-eyed service like someone with a chip. And what do you want her there for? Ain't just about sex. And never blank-eyed sex. They'd talk. He'd even laugh. I never thought his face could move that way. She'd laugh. She don't talk much, but some of the human guys could lip read, and after a while, they couldn't work out anything what she was saying, but a Drell could. Why the fuck? Look, excuse my language. I'm sorry. I think you can handle it? Yeah, I can. Don't worry about it. Go on. It's all weird. We was bored and scared, and we couldn't figure neither of them out, and we needed to in order to do our jobs. At first, it's do what he says, no problem. After she gets there, now do what he says, but do what she wants, just like he's doing. Looking at her, we seen maybe someone like us. Someone he needed or wanted, and maybe he just took her off some street somewhere. Maybe he bought her. Maybe she signed a contract like us. Now she can't leave, just like we can't. Maybe he told her she was going to have a job. But if she started out like us, she don't end up that way. She's special. He ain't never had nobody around that he gave a shit about. He fucked whoever, whenever he felt like it. Not staff, though. Not someone living there. Not even someone visiting for the night. He don't got no social life. He's got a job, and he's good at it. So people threw themselves at him over business deals, and he'd fuck 'em, and that's how that worked. Then he was done with them. Not kill him, done with him, just fuck 'em. And now he's bored. And now they look like they want more, and he ain't gonna give it to 'em. He never fucked no slave that I seen. He never kept a slave someone tried to give him, neither. He only fucked people scared of him. People who wanted something from him, which I'm guessing they didn't get. Krios is in the habit of taking, not giving. He looks at everyone like he wants to kill him, and I think he got off on thinking about killing anybody who was fucking. I think they got off on it. Sick fucking people. Marcus looked like maybe it was Garrus's turn to cough up some details about the sick fucking people, but that was not going to happen. Marcus continued conspiratorially. I know you ain't got no pictures of him, but I know you got descriptions and drawings. Not an ugly fucking man, and he don't gotta try to get nobody's attention. Now, Commander Shepard, she ain't sick. She ain't scared. She ain't nothing I seen in that house before, and she ain't leaving. I seen lots of people come and go on that estate with slaves, and yeah, I'm a fucked up person, granted. Way more fucked up now than I was when I went in, 'cause I can't unsee some of the shit I seen. But that also means I got more experience on what a chipped slave looks like than most. She's sweet, and she's quiet, and she's dignified, and he is obsessed with her. He ain't doing nothing but her. Shit. Sorry. I mean, like, she's his job. No business. Just her for months. Now, he don't never raise his voice to nobody, but he could glare in a way made people faint. I swear, houseboy, one day, up and fainted. He spilled something on a fancy drill carpet, then he spilled everything, 'cause he fainted, 'cause of the way Creos looked at him. I think he's dead. Can't prove it, but don't spill shit on carpets. That's definitely a rule. Creos never glares at her like he does everyone else, never threatens her, never looks at another woman or man, ends up backing down all the time to whatever it is she's saying. He don't leave her alone, ever, with a guest. He acts like he's protecting her. She's there 'cause he likes to look at her, and he won't let nobody else talk to or touch her. He don't answer no questions about who she is to nobody. She's just there, like a flower arrangement or some shit, and he likes it that way. He likes her that way. Admire her, but don't ask nothing, don't get no ideas, don't go near her. I think he'd have killed anybody that tried. Nobody tried. We start to think, even if he did ever work himself up to glare at her like he'd done everyone else, she'd just smile back and he'd cave. Now, she don't argue with him about everything, but when she does argue, she fucking wins. We're trying to figure her out, 'cause if he's scared of her, watching her that close, you bet your ass we was scared of her. Plus, she's our new and only hero. Here's another sick thing. Something else ain't nobody want to say. Something she don't know and don't nobody want to tell her. We wanted her to stay. She made it a better place to work for all us expendable assholes. You didn't think she was a sex slave at the time? Just like everything in this fucked up mess, yes and no. He might have bought her, but she's priceless now. He might have took her, but she's supposed to want to stay. He wants the girlfriend experience. Whoever she is, she's good at her friggin' job. She does it the way he wants, just like we do. We couldn't figure out what she was, but your everyday slave, use 'em and toss 'em? No. Nowhere close. She is the lady of the house, whether she likes it or not. A house that ain't never had no lady in it. She ain't got no name. I wasn't never in a room with her. Drell house staff says he calls her Drolophy or some shit. That ain't a name, it's a description of caste. Lowest caste possible, like homeless, like nobody's gonna see him or care about him. It means the ignored. And so we have no fucking clue what that's all about, but they swear he's saying it like it's funny somehow. Like a pet name, not an insult. They say the way he talks to her, he respects her. Something about the language he uses, the tenses or some shit, I don't know. They say he treats her like she's in charge in a lot of ways. Drell language has got some fucking rules I don't get, but they say he don't mean she's ignored. I say, when he thinks something is funny, fucking look out. We don't know if he made her learn to speak Drell or if she wanted him to teach her. Don't know whose idea it was first. All the shit they done, we could never tell whether or not it was her idea or his idea, and that should be clear with a chip, right? Should be that he wanted to do what he wanted to do. Should be that she don't give a shit about none of it, or she don't like it. But she learns drill, and there are times they're both looking like they really want to, whatever it is that's going on. She paints his toenails. Someone says green with little black stripes, just like him. Swear to God, he paints her nails. Like some fucking spa day shit. He fed her fruit like all day once. She sat with her head in his lap and he fed her fruit and she read to him. Weird shit like that. So she's maybe acting 'cause he wants it, and maybe he's fucking courting her in this sick way, but he ain't got no reason to act. He wants this. He wants her. However she's making him want her more and do what she wants, that's just talent? Lies? Making the best of a bad situation? All three and some other fucking shit we can't figure? All we really know is that if he's painting her fucking fingernails, he ain't murdering nobody, and that's good for us. It's possible he's approaching something might be called a good mood in a normal person, and maybe for him just means not looking for a reason to kill nobody, but we know it's 'cause of her. So after she learns to speak drill, then she wants to learn some other stuff. She'd leave a list. Shit she wanted to read. He handled that himself. Set up a list of subjects she can have, a list of what she can't. He's careful, so even fucking gardening's off the list 'cause fertilizer and balm? Who fucking knows? But she can't learn about anything Turian. Now, in present company, that makes more sense. So we think he turned her off her translator so she can only understand him or other humans. She don't understand nobody else, and he won't let her. You can confirm she never talked to anybody else? That is part of everyone's story. She didn't. Not staff, not guests. She never started a conversation with nobody, but if he asked her a question, she could go off on him. Not yelling, but persuasive. Like she's having fun doing it. I swear he liked it. Half of the guys are thinking dominatrix. Sorry. So, she can learn whatever she wants about Drell, whatever, except Drell tech and Drell chemistry. The lists of what she can and can't read have grown, and we can't figure out the reasons for them. He'd leave the estate and steal from her, every day, a handwritten list. If she's chipped, why don't he tell her to sit in a corner and drool, or just eat food when delivered? You seen the looks on people's faces when they're chipped? On different settings, dull to blank. She wasn't never dull. Ever. The opposite of dull. Why the trouble and expense of hiring people to keep her entertained so she ain't bored when he ain't even there and could put her to sleep? Expensive people. People that used to work in museums or library collections, given job offers they can't refuse. Stacks and stacks of paper. Actual paper. Bound in leather. Something she's gonna burn through in a day and set aside and never see again. Beautiful books. I hardly even seen a paper book except in a museum, and he's got 10 a day made for her. Even bound pamphlets, if the question she got specific. Why? 'Cause I think he likes to talk to her. I think he don't want dull. I think he wants her thinking about him when he's gone. She's a hacker. He's careful. Yeah, she's a hacker with a fucking chip. That's what I heard. And he's beyond fucking careful. Don't get me wrong there. I got no problem with that all being true. Except what I seen ain't that. So for us watching, it makes sense if he's playing house with a dominatrix and he's got issues. Wants things a certain way and she's giving him that. So we figure she's the highest paid woman ever. None of us have any problem thinking he's got issues, and we know he's got money. Slaves are cheap, right? Cheap labor. This lady is not fucking cheap. Look, he was building a library for her. Check the plans. Well, shit, you can't. It's all wiped. Okay, check the inventory. He was ramping up to building a friggin' library for her. Fortunes of books on order and being delivered every day. Check to make sure there ain't nothing in them but paper and the right kind of binding materials. If a book's got some chemicals and materials in 'em on a list he makes, take those out, put the book back together with the right shit. How's that for a weird-ass assignment? We got a bunch of books, so make sure the sweet lady who sits in the corner and reads the lady your fucking evil drell employer somehow endures and is terrified of at the same time can't use the glue to make a neurotoxin. So he's hiring chemists to look at household shit like books and shampoo and bubble bath and fucking nail polish and asking them to not only try to look at what they could be used to make historically, but to get fucking genius creative and try to figure out how they might be used to kill or disable or any other fucking thing he decides. That's the sort of duty people are starting to get. So in this library, there's going to be rare first editions, multiple languages from multiple species, overlay translations without exploitable tech, assistance for running the place. Nothing Torian. He was working on plans to build a ballroom for a selfish, evil fuck, and I am witness to his selfish, evil fuckery, and I didn't think I'd get out of there alive, and I'm glad he's gone. Really, really glad he's gone, and she's free. We was all fascinated by her, terrified, and maybe in love ourselves, 'cause she's the only one that can kick his ass. Why did he do any of that shit, unless it was for her? I find out afterwards she's Commander Shepard and she's got a chip. If that's true, he had a chip he could use, but he don't want to use it. He wants her. He wants her awake. So how did he keep her from killing him? I ain't saying she liked being there. I ain't suggesting that. She wanted out, and he knew it, or those fucking lab wonks otherwise would have been out making the next miracle drug in some Solarian lab instead of spending their days wondering how she could kill someone with moisturizer or some shit. I think he's an evil fuck, and he found a way to threaten her. Maybe he tells her not to talk to us, that if she tries to pass a message herself, he'll find out and kill whoever helped. But even if he don't find out or kill him, if the message does get out, anybody that shows up at the door asking, "Hey, you seen Commander Shepard anywhere around here?" they are fucking dead or a prisoner. Beckenstein's a fortress, and it's her fault. Maybe an agent gets in, but she ain't getting out, even if they try to rescue her. Some ignorant jackass comes in, wants to drag her out through the front door. She's gone. So are they. A C-Sec vehicle? Vaporized. A military assault? She's dead in the crossfire. Automatic security would have killed her, even if staff looked the other way, which I promise you, we wouldn't have. He made clear if he's dead, everyone still does their job, or contingency clauses in his will means lots of contracts on family members. We don't know if other staff are spying on us, reporting on us. We're sure he's watching us. We're fucking terrified, one and all. We could all speculate about dominatrix this, does she really want it that, but there wasn't one fucking word about rescue or trying to figure out who she was. We ain't gonna touch her or talk to her any more than someone's gonna spill shit on that carpet again. If she stepped foot over certain lines, she was gonna die. Security was set to kill her, not trank her, not subdue her, kill her. She had trackers, more than one. Maybe he thinks staff's at risk of getting romantical ideas of rescue or visions of assault when he's off the grounds. But really, we was mostly trying not to piss our pants. That's how they both wanted it. That's why she don't try. More than one tracker? There was only one removed. Yeah, that's weird. I ain't saying I know for sure what he done to her. I'm saying them making a deal would make more sense than him using a chip on her. Just like he made deals with everyone under that roof. That was his life. Deals. Deals he made that other people took. There was more than one tracker. At least, I thought so. Not that he confided in me, but he don't seem like the kind of guy who would have a woman he was that scared of and cost that much. With just one tracker she could probably find and remove herself. If she's such a genius, she could kill us all with her friggin' hairbrush. The estate would have gone on massive lockdown and a bleep from those fucking trackers, and she never tested them. Just like I never tested whether or not I should be watching a screen and making sure I don't push the wrong fucking button at the wrong time. So she knows her boundaries. She knows to stay inside. She believes him when he tells her. You're gonna die if you try to make a move. They're gonna die if you try to hurt me. If you kill me, some switch somewhere detonates this estate and every estate in the vicinity, 'cause he's an evil fuck and would want to take everyone with him. I think he wanted her to care, and she did. She'd be left on her own, sometimes for weeks at a time, and the surveillance is her just getting dressed and studying. Garrus looked down at his Omni tool to avoid looking at Marcus after that stutter, to avoid making a lunge across the desk and killing the thing on the other side. Getting dressed. Marcus, whatever his name was, had seen Cara naked, repeatedly. Fringed and fucked had been one lurid headline, one charming phrase from a gathering witness. Garrus experienced more seismic shifting in a fresh moment of horror, an unstable mixed rage, wanting to tear the man's eyes out and crush them. He focused on his Omni tool and kept his talons in. He wanted to pull those images and everything attached to them out of Marcus's mind and leave behind only the pain she felt, the pain she feels, for him to experience as his own. Yes, it did take some form of courage to tell Counselor Vicarian that his former commander and rumored bondmate had been a sex slave. Repeating that information when Commander Shepard had already given it and it was public knowledge was one thing. It took something else, something that may not exactly be courage, but was at least partially suicidal, to tell him she had enjoyed at least some of it and had a lot of power, did it all voluntarily with multiple witnesses and daily security whose job it was to watch without looking away, go home, shake it off, have a beer, and show up on time the next day. He wasn't at all sure of Marcus's motivation for disclosing any of it. Marcus seemed to relish being able to relay these details, to be the one who knew them, who figured them out. His flavor of being helpful kept it from being interpreted that way. The fact that the words had passed through Marcus's head and rolled off his tongue made whatever came out of his mouth something to be avoided, something inherently contaminated through contact. If any of this was true, and of course Garrus couldn't verify any of it without causing excruciating pain to Cara and other witnesses, Krios wasn't some lucky crime boss with a lot of money who bought a slave with a chip and inherited his security setup, just like Liara was worried about. Krios was someone whose whims she was forced to indulge voluntarily, displaying her skill, grace, humor, and capacity to care. If Marcus was right, the sex was secondary to having her soul on display and at his disposal. She is experiencing, will experience, active and constant vivisection, body, mind, and spirit. Control chips shut down inhibitions and impulses, and now that level of cruelty seemed like a relative mercy. She'd had to overcome every inhibition and suppress every impulse herself against every instinct, and with the result being torture and death of others if she failed. Krios had his security and conditions set well enough that it was working on her from a distance, with defined boundaries she would not cross. She would not talk to anybody about it. Nobody would get in her mind to find out about it. Nobody would touch her. She'd stay isolated and pristine until he recaptured her, and then they'd do it all over again, and he'd be more convincing the next time. In the meantime, any friend, lover, or confidant she had might be tortured and killed, a recording of it happening sent to her. There was no way Krios wasn't aware of the relationship between Garrus and Cara. He wouldn't allow her to learn to speak Turian, wouldn't let her understand Turian speech. Krios had either ordered or convinced her to tell him. Now Garrus wondered more about her prohibition of being touched other than from a physically traumatic viewpoint, knowing Cara could handle trauma. She'd handled excruciating trauma throughout her life. That's why this horrific story sounded like it might be true, because that's what she did. She protected people. Even a sick void like Marcus could see it in her. Marcus knew it because he had been unable to look away. Marcus hadn't wanted to look away. He'd wanted her to stay there, so he'd be safe and he could watch. He'd wanted what Krios had. She had protected Marcus, someone who, given the chance, would have taken Krios's place. Marcus felt some sick camaraderie with her, like they were just the same, had a lot in common. Like he hadn't gone home and thought about what it would be like to own her instead of free her. What was the truth about Cara in all of her iterations that could always be counted upon? Garrus remembered telling her, "You made me a few promises right before you died. One was to see me when you were on the Citadel. One was to not protect me." And she had answered, "I lied about the not protecting you part. I can't and won't keep that one. Never intended to." This was closest to the truth about Cara. Some ringing note that sounded like it was possible, probable, even through the distorted noise of Marcus's head. It spoke under the sick babble like subharmonics from a Turian throat. Garrus had hoped that maybe she'd recover. She just needed time. She loved him and she'd heal. He'd felt sick and selfish thinking it, and sicker again now when the surging need for that to be the truth hit him like it always did, fresh and sharp. The urge to make it the truth washed through his body, strength and power to get something done, something vital, because if she healed, that meant he could have her. He, Krios, and Marcus made a sick set of the iterations of being unable to control themselves on the subject of Cara. It was so much worse than he'd thought. Worse in ways he couldn't calculate. Garrus couldn't do anything about it. The same way he couldn't change her eye color or hair back by hoping. The same way he couldn't turn time back to the moment he first saw her alive again. Turian blood on the tongue or Drell blood on the hands. He had a long and dizzy moment of tearing and then free fall. Simpler images of her healing after something in the dark happened were replaced with luridly illuminated isolation that was permanent, corrupted injury and subverted nature. Bridging. She would try to kill Reapers before it killed her, before Krios took her again. It had been easier to hear about the stage-like setting of the gatherings, and that had been excruciating, but he was separate from it, an observer. Like her death, he had been remote from it. Now, Garrus was an active player, his name used against her daily, pressed like a poisoned blade against her spine. Move a millimeter, and it would be Garrus whose spine would be severed by proxy. She would never, ever stop protecting Garrus, and Krios knew it. She'd do anything for Garrus, just like she'd said. Garrus felt the urge to slit his own throat as a way to escape just knowing about this for a few minutes, and she'd borne it for months, was still... It did sound crazy, and everyone would be motivated to discredit this slime of a human being. She had a chip. Couldn't you order someone to not behave like an automaton? Order her to be grateful and kind? Order her to behave as though she were the happy lady of the house? Maybe her being kind resulted in her caring about Steph, and Krios allowed that because it didn't matter to him either way. Garrus would very much like to discredit Marcus if he could, so he stated calmly, preaching for something, anything, a buffer and a shield that could turn a killing blow into a glancing miss. The chips have adjustable settings. Yeah, look, I seen that. I was curious. I'd done some research. Garrus felt another surge of blistering rage. I'll bet you did. You said you could get anything you wanted on Beckenstein, Marcus. Did you buy yourself a woman and a chip and test out all your theories? Several women, several chips. Is that how you know exactly how a chip does or doesn't work? I think you watched Cara and Krios, and then I think you tried it yourself. I think you're jealous you couldn't get the same results. Garrus moved his hands to his knees to avoid displaying talons that he could not pull back in, and didn't want to. If Garrus asked that question, if he saw the answer any more clearly, he'd have to kill him. The best chips have settings he could have used where he leaves it on all the time at maybe 80% and just tells her what to do. So explain why she's doing what she wants to do if he could just tell her, you don't want to read no more. Or tells her, the staff's disposable, stop looking at me like you can do something about it. I think he wanted her awake, 'cause that's worse for her. And he's an evil fuck. Maybe the chip didn't work on her? Maybe. She says it did. I'm sorry, I don't believe her, but I know why she'd lie. It's 'cause ain't nobody can help her, and that's what's fucking killing me. That's why I'm here. She's out, but it's the same fucking thing for her in some ways 'cause he's still alive, or 'cause he's made sure something will happen if she steps out of bounds. She's probably supposed to go back to him if someone rescues her. No way she's doing that, but he'll make other people suffer for it. I'd tell you to watch your back, but fuck. Sir, I don't know how to tell you to be safe from this guy. If anybody knows what she's up against, it's her. I'm betting he knows whether or not she cares about you. I'm betting she cares about you. I'm betting he told her if she let anybody touch her or talk to her, try to help her, they'd die. Even out here. Especially out here until he gets her back. I had no idea she was Commander Shepard, and even if I did, I wouldn't have tried to help her. And I think she was trying to avoid amateurs getting caught in the crossfire. I'd have tried, I'd have been dead. My family would have been dead. My niece's cat would have been dead, stacked next to my niece, neatly, probably with a polite fucking note and an anonymous flower arrangement to the funeral that everybody fucking admires. This guy could threaten, and he delivered on any promises he made. Garrus felt a sick lurch of hoping that chip had been used on high strength as often as possible. He changed course. If this is all true, why aren't I dead yet? If I'm the most logical person to kill to hurt her? I think he wants her to be happy in some sick fucking way. Like he could prove she's better off with him than without him. Like he's some merciful guy instead of a vicious fuck. I think it works sometimes. 'Cause she loves books and cookies. 'Cause she knows he could have chained her to a wall in the basement, and she better be grateful about that, or that's gonna change if he don't have no more reason to be nice. Like maybe he tells her every night Counselor Vicarian's still alive 'cause she been a good girl that day, and 'cause of that he been a good guy. It's all sick. I ain't saying it would have worked to convince her that he was a good guy, but he made her act all grateful and sweet no matter what he done. I think he wanted Commander Shepard, and a chip would just make her a thing. If you're alive, it's 'cause you're leverage. He don't kill everyone's family before they take the trip to Beckenstein. He made sure we knew it could happen once we got there, though. She cares about you. That's a strong thing, something he can use. He kills you, and she knows it. Maybe she ain't got no reason to agree to no deal no more. He's always got to have something he can take away from her, something she don't want to lose. I think he wanted to dance with her. I think he's pissed off, from here to the galaxy's edge, that he can't sit on the couch and feed her fruit all day no more. I think he'd be extra pissed he ever see you two dancing, and on that day, the deal changes to the next phase of whatever that sick fuck promised her would happen if she broke a deal he offered, turned him from a nice guy to a bad guy. Whoever he is now, wherever he is now, he's not the sort of guy to cut his losses. He turns other people into losses. That whole fucking place was a museum, but she's the only thing he gave a shit about, the only thing he thought about, the only thing he cared about. He didn't lose interest. He was making expensive and long-term plans, and the cost of her fucking clothes alone. He was committed. I can't prove it. Ain't nobody else gonna say it 'cause they're smarter than me. Everybody else has nieces who got cats or nephews who got dogs. Hell, you want to kill me for saying it. I want to kill me for seeing it. That place made people crazy or dead. Didn't make her crazy. Didn't make her dead. I think she drove him crazy, though. Just not dead. Me. It drove me crazy. And I'm gonna be dead. I definitely deserve to die. Garrus did not disagree. So I find out she's Commander Shepard, and some shit looks the same, and some shit don't make no sense with what I seen. The stuff that don't make no sense is the stuff I don't know if you know. I already knew he was scared of her. I already knew she was important. She kept the cool 'cause she's Commander Shepard and wasn't chipped. She ain't no dominatrix, and he's still got issues, but the issues make more sense. She had this evil fuck of a guy looking at her like... You had to see the guy before she got there, and then see the guy maybe a month after. Maybe he's thinking some Beauty and the Beast shit's gonna happen, you know? Maybe you don't know. Human thing. Stockholm Syndrome's a thing. Look that up too. But she ain't gonna budge and decide he's really the guy for her like he wants. So why don't I think there's a chip? 'Cause of her face. Why do I think he wants her to want to stay? 'Cause of his face. Garrus looked at Marcus as impassively as possible, suppressing contempt and anger. This was useless information. No leads, no records, just a guy with a sick, voyeuristic crush and a theory. Absolutely nothing actionable, no direction. Marcus couldn't help Garrus find Krios, couldn't help him help Cara. He's busy making her captivity and her potential pursuit by Krios worse by mixing in every motivation and emotion and then shaking it up until what was left was chaos, where before it had been a simpler, if bleak, picture. Fuck. If we're being honest about sick, voyeuristic crushes, add the Turian counselor to the list of people who feel that way about Cara. If he's just a sick, evil fuck, which he is, don't get me wrong, who has a slave and loses her, no big deal. Slaves are cheap and can be replaced, but she wasn't never no slave. And she ain't replaceable, and he's a sick, evil, and scary smart fuck. He's been thinking she's gonna get out someday. He's been thinking about what to do about it. He's thought about it a lot, and I can't tell you what options he gave her, but giving up on getting her back is not one of those options. He looked at her like he'd do anything for her, except let her go. And that's pretty much what he done. She wants books. She gets the best books. She wants ice cream. He's hiring pastry chefs. She wants sex. And yeah, you can fucking kill me for saying it, but he ain't hurting her. And here's where the dominatrix theory don't work. She ain't hurting him. She is getting the best sex he can give her, and he don't touch nobody else, don't let nobody touch her. So I came here, to tell you he cares, and that's fucking horrible. This is the last guy you want giving a shit about you. Eventually, everything he was doing, somehow it all had something to do with her. Fortune spent, business just stopped happening. He's got the most fucking expensive woman in history, and he looks like maybe he'd been hoping for a nice, pretty tchotchke to sit down somewhere quiet and admire. Instead, he's got a time bomb who only ticks down, and he can't fucking disarm her. That almost made Garrus smile in a grudging way. Yeah, that's her. Expensive and difficult. Abso-fucking-lutely that. And we was all cheering her on. Quietly. Anyways. Every now and then a camera would catch her looking at him as like if he don't do what she wants, whatever it was, she was disappointed in him. Then the look on his face, let me tell you, we fucking loved that. It was the best thing ever. Meant our nieces and nephews would stay alive that day, and so would we. She held his attention, and we was off the hook. She ain't gonna back up my story. It's up to me to tell you, 'cause I may be 1 out of 6 guys seen even some of what I seen. I don't know if the other guys are dead. I don't know if anybody else is alive to say. I don't know if she told you everything and told reporters something else, or if she don't give a shit about reporters. I don't know if you know. I can't ask nobody else. Neither can you. They ain't gonna say. It's not like we went to Armax together for a drink and a laugh off shift. We was all fucking terrified and didn't want to start no running game of cards, get to know each other, make friends, and watch Bob forget to make it to a security checkpoint one day on time, and then bye-bye Bob, now meet Alan. I can't explain to Alan just how fucking scared he should be if he wants to live. I can't even tell him why he should want to live no more. I think I should mind my own fucking business and feel sorry for this dumbass who thinks he's smart, and how someday he's gonna have a house like this of his own. Then he sees her and thinks he could buy a woman like that with all the money he's gonna make. Usually, Alan's just a greedy, stupid fuck, just smart enough to do something simple. Someone like me, who was hired because the thing he can really do for Krios is be scared. Be scared and get sleep. Stay healthy. Don't miss work. Don't hit the wrong button. Realize you're going to spend every day preparing for your next shift. Scared of what you done on your last one might mean you ain't going to sleep through the night. But you better sleep, 'cause otherwise you're going to be tired. And tired makes the wrong kind of stupid. The stupid Krios don't want and can't use. Usually it's bye-bye Alan. Hello Dave. I think sometimes the guys that died made out better. I was just going to be terrified every day forever, and I was going to die there, one way or the other. Old age, make a mistake, don't matter. There are so many greedy, stupid fucks with the capacity to be scared in the galaxy. That's what made every single one of us so easy to hire, and so fucking expendable. Just grind us up, shape us into what he wants. Someone don't come out the way he wants, they're dead. Move on to the next expendable fuck. Wasn't never going to be no Krios, patting me on the shoulder, telling me I'd done a good job, he was going to let me go. I don't think I can explain to you how fucking scared you should be. How fucking scared she is for you. We're on the Citadel, not Beckenstein. Commander Shepard is a specter, not a powerless slave. She hunts slavers. Yeah, that's true. But the Citadel's got a lot of Beckenstein on it, in it, moving through it. People on the Citadel ain't immune to being threatened or taken. Hell, she was on Ilium, right? And just disappeared? You think that can't happen here? Maybe she's smart enough it never happens to her again. But you? You absolutely sure everyone you got working for you is loyal, ain't spying for nobody? Yeah, I saw him obsessed. I got obsessed. I started thinking what I shouldn't, started trying to be clever, and this is what it fucking got me. I don't want to argue with Commander Shepard's story. I don't want to set reporters straight. I don't want to tell the counselor that she... Yeah. Krios knew how to control his staff without chips. We just had to do it. He wanted people sharp, thinking. Chipped people are less useful than scared ones. We did what he wanted, or we died, or someone else died. I think he figured out how to do that to her, except he don't want to kill her. He's going to kill other people if he ain't happy. Right now, he ain't happy. If she can, she's going to protect us. She's going to protect you. Someone should know that's what she's doing. If she was chipped, she don't got to know us. That means she don't got to talk to us. And also, we ain't responsible because we ain't supposed to know nothing about her. If she don't know Krios, he ain't all that smart. She don't got to look like she's worried. So now it's all settled, and it's just like Krios wants, and she wants, just like before. We can all say, nice lady, we don't know nothing. Poor us, glad he's gone. Lady like that, I figure you know when she's protecting you? Yeah, I do. Or I thought I did. So you're saying she's still doing it? Yeah, if she can. And I seen she can do a lot you don't think nobody can do. He found a way to make her smile and study and all the shit you heard. So Krios loses her. Now, he maybe likes her more than he's liked anything. I ain't saying love, evil, fuck, and all, but he's obsessed. This wasn't mindless fun for him. This was something else. Something maybe ain't got a name. He wanted her. All of her. I wasn't going to take no for an answer from nobody. Definitely not her. He liked her. And he done that to her. Is doing that to her. With the galaxy going to shit, and maybe she can help. Maybe she's the only one can help. He does this to her. He don't care if the galaxy goes to shit as long as he can have her. He ain't afraid at all of trying to get her back. Wherever he is, that's all he's thinking about. He ain't afraid of you. He's afraid of her, but he likes that. That's the point. That's why he likes her. So danger ain't gonna stop him. I can't think of nothing that will, except maybe a bullet through his brain. I think he can bug your office. I think it's possible he's listening right now. I've seen lots of Citadel folks at Beckenstein, but I don't owe you or them shit. I ain't saying who they was. I owe her something, though. Something that ain't got a name, maybe. I owe her not having to hear it from me. Just giving you a heads up, hoping you understand somehow, and don't kill me. You should know who the fuck you're trying to find. Maybe not look, but know. I think if he wants me dead, I'm dead, and I don't have nothing to say about it. I ain't safe on the Citadel. I ain't safe in this office. Shit, you want to kill me. You probably did before I even got here, and now more. I think she knows, just like I did, she had and has a job to do. She can't fuck it up. I fucked up in so many ways. I took the job. I did the job. I didn't help her. I didn't help nobody. I let her get out. I lied to C-Sec. Now I'm fucking telling the truth, but that's just gonna make shit worse. Her job was to stay alive and keep him from taking out his disappointment with her on other people. She can't stop him from doing that now, but maybe she can stop Reapers, and he can only kill a few people. Important people to her, yeah, but not everyone. I think I'm dead, if he decides I am, but I'm a sideline to him. He'll get around to me eventually. He'll find me in 5 or 10 years, after I feel safe, after he's got her back. I could find a hole and crawl in it maybe, and one day I wake up with his smile in that hole, the last thing I see, or maybe I don't wake up at all. That's if I'm lucky, and he don't torture my family to death in front of me 'cause we had a deal. But he's not going to kill her? No way he'd kill her. Ever. Whatever this was, is. It ain't about killing her. It's about keeping her and getting her to say thank you to him for taking care of her so good. Yeah, we was bored, mostly staring at empty rooms, and we was terrified, but we wasn't blind. Scared as everyone was, we was still fascinated and even jealous. Everyone wants to know what it's like to be kissed the way he kissed her, or wants to know what it's like to have her kiss back the way she done, or both. He's a pretty son of a bitch. She's beautiful. Not just the way they looked, the way they moved, the way they thought, the way they talked. Watch 'em laugh and look at each other and know it ain't love, but it's something. Something he'd spend every credit and kill every person alive to keep to himself. Something she'd kill him to escape if she got a chance, but sometimes she don't want to escape. It's fucked up. It's beyond fucked up, and I feel sick saying what I saw. There's a chip, but there ain't. There's sex, but please don't fucking kill me. She liked it. There's not sex. There's friggin' book club, and he likes that. So I figure most people are gonna come to the counselor's office and say, it's like she said. He took her. There's sex. Now he's gone. Glad that's over. But it's not over. It ain't over for him. It ain't over for her. She knows she ain't safe. She knows you ain't safe. Maybe he's told her to tell the story about Thane being dumb if she does escape and he's still alive, or he kills everyone she cares about. He kills 'em bloody. He kills 'em painful, and she knows it's 'cause she didn't keep the deal he offered. Maybe he's got an associate do him one last well-paid favor after he's dead, take out the Turian counselor. I'm scared she's going to be in the fight and have her back turned, and he's going to be there, and he's going to kill her squad and take her. That's why all this glad it's over shit scares the fuck out of me. I ain't saying she's going to die. I'm saying she knows she can't do nothing about him coming after her or the people she loves, just like in that house. I'm saying she knows not to make friends and go to Armax with nobody that might draw his attention. He wants her to have a library and a ballroom, and he's gonna make fucking sure she does. Not his library, not his ballroom, something she'd love. Something just for her, something perfect for her, something that even if she hated his guts, and I don't think she did, she doesn't hate. Yeah, one more thing that's I should have known, and I ain't surprised. If she's telling you, and everybody's telling you that she's gonna be fine, and he's not gonna find her, they're lying. Everyone's got real good reasons to lie. I'd have good reasons to lie too, but maybe I just don't give a shit no more. I know I'm dead. Reapers or fucking thing Krios, or just a little more time, or a little less breathing. Don't matter. Once I took that job, I was fucking done. Happiest day of my miserable life, I got that job. Felt like I could make something of myself. Yeah, I did. Or he did. He can threaten her 'cause she cares and has something to live for, has a purpose. I used to care. I don't no more. Not about myself. Maybe you can help her. You know what I know. Maybe you can't. But you know, at least. Is it possible that people are moved off Beckenstein, and when they lose their citizenship, maybe they lose their names and access? Those still on Beckenstein just don't know? Maybe they're not dead. Maybe he's not killing people. Maybe it's all a bluff. Maybe he's different with her because it's her, and business is business, but it isn't as bad as it looks. Marcus looked at him with clear pity for the counselor's naivete, probably the same look he gave to Alan's enthusiasm about his great new job. That expression looked like it belonged on his face. That's how his face was usually shaped. Yeah. You never seen this guy work. Really work. The way he looked at people during meetings, or the way he wasn't never afraid in a room full of criminals. Everyone was afraid of him. Scary people was afraid of him, and for good reason. It wasn't no bluff. He wasn't afraid to kill. He wasn't afraid to die. This is one of those things I ain't talking about. I don't need to tell you who he killed, what I seen. I can tell you he killed. I seen it. Let me ask you something. You thought Saren was a bad guy, right? Everyone told you he was fine. You was paranoid and Saren was a good guy. But you saw stuff. You thought stuff. You was doing your job. I was doing my job, and yeah, I was an obsessed, sick, voyeuristic dipshit getting paid too much, but I figure maybe you know what that's like. I mean, not the obsessed, sick, voyeuristic dipshit part, the coming to a different conclusion part. You seeing about Saren. It matters. That's why I'm telling you. Everyone says to you, there ain't no Reapers, and Saren's a good guy. That's like this. Everyone's saying to me, there ain't no Thane Krios, just some dipshit, stupid coward. Commander Shepard's back to work, and it's all okay. You didn't know with Saren what was going on, but you knew something was. That's where I am. So why didn't Krios notice you were an obsessed, sick, voyeuristic dipshit and kill you? I got a good poker face when I'm terrified. I didn't fuck up my job until that last day. Maybe he figures it wasn't my fault. Maybe he does. I maybe didn't fuck up permanent till now. I didn't follow his advice to drop it and leave it at the door. Doesn't surprise me that her advice is to tell people to drop it and leave it at the door. That's what she learned at Beckenstein. Because if you don't leave it alone and do what he says, Thane Krios happens. Now, Thane Krios can't do shit about Reapers. And if she goes after them and has guys at her back with guns every second, maybe she's okay. Maybe she's just going to get shot by something instead of having books delivered while she eats her favorite cookies and as a man give her everything he thinks she should want so she thanks him for it. My place in this, sir, is that I don't matter. I ain't one of those guys people care about. I'm scared. I'm also a dead man soon, one way or the other. The job drove me to obsess, but also to do just a bit more drinking than I already done. Cirrhosis. I ain't gonna get a liver regen. I figure I earned an ugly death. I'm gonna die before Krios gets to me if I can, but if he kills me, I deserve it. Not for failing him, but for failing her. Maybe he and I are gonna agree on something. I should die, and painful. Maybe not for what he thinks, but what the fuck. It'll work for me. I'm gonna die before Reapers can get to me if I can. If you want to kill me for knowing what I know and doing exactly fucking nothing about all the shit that went on in that house, 'cause I am greedy and scared, you go ahead and do it. I did nothing but hope she'd keep it up. What I'm doing now is chicken shit, and I should probably get a new liver and try to qualify to go fight for the Alliance. Hell, that'd be so heroic, right? I should tell her that, right? Make it about me? Gee, Commander Shepard, watching you get voluntarily raped day after day so you could escape and head out to save everyone's lives later on inspired me to stand up and be a man. Yeah, that's okay. I think I'll die in peace. Spare her another person she has to protect. She'd done enough for me. I can't do nothing for her except warn you things ain't what they seem. Then I die quiet, or I die bloody. Either way, I take it with me. Too much of this was striking new chords. A simple round of symmetrically tragic melody was morphing into something else. Something like every possible note played at once, trying to reach orchestral depth. Paranoia, mingled with comprehension of a kinship of a depth of obsession and desperation in Krios. What wouldn't Garrus do for Cara? What wouldn't Krios do for Cara? He wouldn't let her go. They both wouldn't let her go. Was there a different possible definition of letting go available here? What if Krios had acted the way Marcus described him? Willing to kill everyone. Were Reapers part of everyone? Spend every credit? Abandon an estate that meant nothing to him without her in it? What did Cara inspire people to do? On an impulse, he asked, Would you look at a picture for me? Sure. Is this Thane Krios? Garrus displayed a picture of Kegarin Itran, who was now Varen Celadus, the person at the bottom of an ocean with her, inside a reaper. Garrus felt sick asking the question, but he already felt sick. Sick was still better than dead. There had to be a way to heal. Celadus was the newest member of the Normandy crew. Someone Drell, close to Cara, someone she touched, someone she talked to, someone she could not thank enough. He could not help but draw parallels. Marcus had at least made him look, if not believe, that if things were not what they seemed. Thane Krios was not as incompetent as portrayed. He sold identities as part of his business. What if Krios had effectively disappeared because he wasn't Krios anymore? Only Itran and Cara had said there was a chip at all. What if it had never existed? Krios had been right about the books and the cookies. Garrus could confirm that part. What if Krios decided, or she convinced him, to give her something else she'd love and would thank him for? Now Celadus helps her get a reaper of her own? Several reapers? What could she possibly want more? How much was luck and coincidence? How much was craft and misdirection? How much was inspiration? How could Garrus tell with nobody talking? How much was Garrus's jealousy and impotence? What if Kegarin Itran had become obsessed with Cara when he first saw her 8 years ago and had become Thane Krios? No, that was impossible. They were two separate people, timelines, and his timelines for Krios were not validated. The only times he could be verified to be somewhere was one day a month at a gathering. They didn't even have DNA. What if she'd run away to Beckenstein to be with him, and that's why Thane Krios wasn't dead? It's not as though she were incapable of lying about anything and everything. Cara had changed so much she was unrecognizable at Krios' direction. Couldn't he do the same for himself? Krios wanted to give her what she wanted her to thank him, was a Drell, was intelligent. Celadus was giving her what she wanted. She was thanking him, was a Drell, was intelligent. Why would she take a confidant that was so very much like her abuser? Why would she take a confidant at all when she had a bondmate who desperately wanted to be that person for her? Because Celadus rescued her, and she's trying to protect him from Krios. Celadus saw her on that estate and risked himself for her. She trusts him and can confide in him because he was a slave himself. He's rescued and counseled slaves for years. She could have 5 Cara motivations at once, and you don't know her reasons. She won't explain them. Celadus would never earn mercy from Krios, and unlike Garrus, has no independent responsibility to fulfill. She is again trying to protect him, obviously. Talking to him doesn't matter. He's at exactly as much risk as she is every moment. Cara could potentially avoid attracting Krios' full attention to Garrus if she stayed away from him. That wasn't possible for Cara or Celadus, and all of them knew it. A few conversations here or there, or even dancing in public, would not change how much Krios' wrath would manifest. They were as bad as it got on the fucked up vengeance scale. They couldn't make it worse between them. What if she's using Celadus as bait? Would she tell him? And would he agree? Were they both trying to trap Krios? They've both earned the right to be exceptional to each other. There's no way he knew how to deliver a Reaper to her doorstep. That's crazy. This is all crazy. Fuck. You can't be her bondmate because if Krios knows and is having you followed, and you know he is absolutely having her followed, all he needs is proof that's anonymously leaked to destroy what she's trying to build to accomplish. There's no way being on that throne qualified as doing what she wanted. That wasn't her, was it? Why didn't she change her face back? Because she said he'd release video anyway. Why did she say she loved me? Because she does, you idiot. Spirits, please help me. Garrus had to find a way to make this all make sense somehow. He had to. Marcus looked at the picture with little reaction. Krios was green. The Drell look a lot alike to me, but that ain't Krios. Do you recognize him? Maybe that's the doctor? The one that was on the grounds to take care of her? Is that what happened? Did he help her escape? Obsession and that same revolting camaraderie lit Marcus's face, like he knew her, like he had a right to know what happened to her. It leaked through his voice, his eyes round and fascinated at the new piece of information. Garrus resisted the impulse to kill again, his helplessness and cooling ashes of grief now roaring into bonfire strength with rage, confusion, and disorientation. No. I know her. I do know her. I also have a right to know what happened to her. I don't know her last name. She never gave it to me. She never answered my calls. Garrus redirected the conversation to something less lethal. Weren't you there? Yeah, but I was watching the grounds, not the house that day. I don't decide which monitors I watch. I seen him come in, but that's all. There was cameras in that room, sure, but after a while, they wasn't monitored by us. Feeds was still live, and someone made sure the cameras was working, but didn't watch what was being recorded. I figured Krios didn't want nobody watching her in there but him. I don't think nobody saw what happened that day. Any Drell could be any other Drell with a paint job, I guess, but that guy don't look like Krios. It ain't just the colors. The markings are wrong, and Krios is a scary guy. I'd cross the street to get away from him if he was coming the other way. I'd cross a few streets, go the other way, go home, lock the door, hope I ain't been followed. This guy, I wouldn't notice. Can't that all be changed cosmetically? Garrus heard in her voice. You didn't see him. He was good. Really good. Whose idea was the ultrasound? His idea. Her idea? Their idea? Whoever's idea. Someone smart. Not just someone lucky. Someone inspired. He heard Russ saying the Drell, whatever his name was very good, surprisingly good at combat for such a timid guy. If Cara was reluctant and could act, dedicated to mayhem, couldn't there be a Drell who was dedicated to mayhem that could act reluctant, knowing all along that he would succeed because he had her on his side? Why was she on his side? When? Years ago? But he had been afraid she'd kill him, at least at some point. All it took was a few drops of blood. Her blood. Every time her blood made him... He was overtaken by the vertiginous lack of reliable perspective, of everything shaking loose at once. He couldn't hold on to anything. Potential madness. Talons out and ready to kill. What her blood did was make him crazy. This was crazy. Don't get sucked in. Even Marcus agreed, as he said with an incredulousness investing his voice. Are you asking me, did Thane Krios pretend to be a doctor and then break a woman out that he was planning a library for? Yeah, I sound crazy, but that sounds crazy-er. Sir, counselor. Okay. We found this guy's DNA in the master bedroom. Yeah, well, you would. That's where he saw her, right? We didn't find any other Drell DNA. Krios had been off the estate for days. There's DNA sweeps as part of housekeeping and security procedure. Every 2 days. Room by room. Special lights. I don't understand the tech. Not my area. I was on surveillance. Not maintenance. Clothes was burned. Surfaces scrubbed chemically and with those lights. Fortunes of clothes burned every 2 days. If I was to guess, sir, I'd say he don't want samples of his DNA. Or hers. To be identified by someone like, say, you. Did you ever see Thane Krios and this man together? No, but Krios wasn't all that cuddly. I figure a doctor's like maintenance staff, not a guest. Like someone he'd hire to clean the pool. He don't meet him at the door, and shit goes on schedule like he says it's gonna. Did you do the vetting on this man? Security checks? No, nothing like that. Krios did that himself. So, Commander Shepard is alone. And she's not chipped, and not monitored by security, and Krios isn't home. He lets another Drell touch her, talk to her, when she's not allowed to talk to anybody, and nobody's allowed to touch her, when he's afraid of her trying to escape, and watches her every minute, someone she saved from slavery years ago, and that's how he recognizes her? She fucking what? No shit? She saved his life? Sound a little weird to you? It's all fucking weird, if you ask me, but yeah, small galaxy. Yeah, seems that way. So you tell me something. You in love with her? It didn't matter anymore, and he should not say it, but no, it mattered, and he would. Whatever Marcus knew or was going to say to anybody, Garrus was sick of ambiguity. He was sick of lying, and wanted to make one thing clear to everyone if he could, particularly to this person, who had no idea what love was, and couldn't be right about what he saw. Very much so. Does she know that? She does. Okay. Look, this is all above my pay grade. If I can help, I will, but I don't think I can. It's all fucking insane, and trying to figure out what a sick fuck wants can make you think like a sick fuck, so I ain't doing myself no favors here. I hope she gets on with living. I hope you can get on with living. My advice? Stop looking for Krios. You won't find him. Any trail you're gonna find is gonna be fake. You find a body, I'll bet all the money I got that it ain't him, but you're gonna be sure it is. If he can waste your time or fuck with you, he will. She knows he'll find her. She knows she can handle him. You, he'll just kill. Her, he won't hurt her. Yeah, he'll take her, but shit, she'll get out again. She'll do her fucking job just like she done before. You do yours. She wants to do something useful with her life rather than make Krios, or you, think he's a Drell god that nobody can stop. That's what he wanted her to do. She wanted to stop doing it. That's what she told me. She's a fucking smart lady. I'd listen to her. But you ain't gonna, are you? Probably not. I really can't say I understand any of this. I'm sorry for your loss, Counselor Vicarian. I'm sorry for her loss. Yeah, me too. I can offer you protective service through CSEC. No offense, Counselor, but I don't think that will help me. Even if I could, I wouldn't. I shouldn't be helped. I'm what you call scum. So, ask whatever you want, but I'm just gonna leave after saying what I come to say, and then whatever happens, happens. And I won't cost nobody no tax money or the effort of filling out a form that he can find in his sleep. It just might piss him off into being insulted that I didn't try harder. a lot of former Bekenstein staff have disappeared. He's either doing it, or they gone back to their families, used all that money, and got everyone moved and safe somehow. I'd do the same, but I've earned my death a few times over. You got a time machine, I'd give it a try, but if I just gotta live with myself, no thanks. If I had a time machine, I wouldn't be now.